Let's get down to Abby Holmes. Speaking of Adelaide players, big AFLW Grand Final tomorrow. But Abby, your thoughts from downstairs tonight on this glorious Melbourne evening?
Yeah, you said it, Hutto. It's picture perfect night at Etihad Stadium, and we're still currently hovering around 27 degrees. So a beautiful night. The atmosphere is certainly building down here. 90,000 at the G last night, and another huge crowd expected to roll in. For me, I'm going to give my tip early and say the Crows, but we just spoke about him, Darcy Fogarty. I can't, I guess, give him enough kudos. He's had a massive pre-season, very impressed obviously in the JLT series, so I'm very excited to see what he can put out there tonight.
Give us a tip on tomorrow, by the way, Abby.
Yeah, well, it's going to be interesting. I would love to see the Doggies win. However, I think that Brisbane Lions are just going to be far too good, and especially, unfortunately with Katie Brennan out of that Bulldogs side.
All right, well, big night downstairs, of course, with all the new... Last night, Abby was very busy with Cruiser injury, Kennedy early. And it's going to be such a factor, isn't it, this season?
This is the Ream warm-up. Install the Ream, Australia's #1 in hot water. What about Fogarty's choice to chew gum during games? It was incredible watching him in the JLT game. He's a gum chewer while he plays footy. It's like
is that a long-forgotten art?
He's obviously got no mouth guard if he's doing that.
It's amazing.
It's a new one. Yeah, well, there's big raps on it. As I said, I don't think they hand that jumper out just willy-nilly. And I think one thing that obviously he's got is a lot of hardness. So looking forward to McGovern too. He's probably now going to have to step up a bit more tonight, Gaz, with Taylor Walker out and Lynch. So
will he definitely take the next step and become?
Well, I think he can. Now I think he can. Hutto, he's still in that. Look, he's 22 years of age. So normally he's that type of play from 25 to 30 when you play your best football. And yeah, he'd be the first to admit the consistency is one thing. He needs to get on the ball, but they need him to have a really good game tonight.
Missed the grand final, of course, which was a huge hole, I think, in that forward setup. And let me just put one more player on player watch, and that is the captain of the Essendon Footy Club, Dyson Heppel, who I think's in a really interesting phase in his career. They're coming for his midfield spot. Young blood, quicker legs than his, who want time through the middle of the ground. Does he just put a stake in the ground tonight and say, well, I'm not going anywhere, this is my domain? Or will he get pushed perhaps to half back and maybe to a wing and even some forward line duties? I think he's a super footy player. Maybe come off a touch, I reckon, last year. Yeah. So I'm interested to see how he starts season 2018.
There's no doubting. It's a very good point you make. When you have a look at Merritt, he's the top 4 or 5 midfielders in the competition right now. McGrath looks like he's going to walk into that area. So yeah,
Parrish, Smith wants a piece of it as well. So it's going to be crowded. And look, I think he's a really good leader. I think he's a really good leader, Dyson. He's got great self-awareness, so I think that's important for a group that have been through a fair bit. But I just did think and feel at times last year that he was just a little off. And we know he's not quick. He's not quick across the ground, runs hard all day. I'll just be interested to see how he starts this year.
He's in the middle ready for the toss. I'm not sure if this is a bit of Sourav Ganguly tactics. But
this might be the new Crow stare, whatever it was. The stare club.
Are we going to get that? That's the other fascination. There's no national anthem, is there? So
you start humming it and see what they all might run together.
See some sort of pose just before the bounce of the ball.
There's still no captain coming into the middle. Dyson Heppel's been there for a minute.
Little Ray Chamberlain's coming out of there. Come on.
Yeah, any danger, Rory? He wanders over now to toss the coin. So Rory Sloane taking the toss in the absence of the big Texan, Taylor Walker.
Sorry, it's good fun when they toss the coin here. Couldn't just choose an end, could we?
One of the quaint traditions of AFL football.
Yes, it matters some days more than others, and it very rarely has any impact here. Dyson Heppel wins the toss and they kick to the Lloyd end. It's still worth a ripple of applause. The crowd is on the build. It'll be the late flood on a Friday night. The middle tier, the corporates filling up, but they are stretched to the back, certainly on the wings, and to the back sort of 5 or 6 rows at either end. So it's going to be a crowd in the mid-40s, and Gavin Wanganine's on duty tonight to send off the warning siren and get things going. So for their final thoughts on tonight's game, Danny Frawley and Gary Lyon, our Red Energy experts. Red Energy for
100% electricity and gas, Jared.
There it is. I'm leaning slightly towards the home side because of the late changes and the outs for this Adelaide side. 7 from the grand final last from last year's grand final team, Spud. But I don't ever want to be accused of not respecting this Adelaide Crows side, because what they did last year was outstanding, and it wouldn't surprise me if they got up. I think it's going to be close and tight. It'll be entertaining, and it'll be worth sitting down and listening to two of the best callers in the country.
Yeah, look, I'm going for the Bombers just. I've changed my tip purely on the fact that Walker and Lynch are out, but yeah, there's so many subplots here tonight. I think Jake Stringer, if you're a defender, you want to be playing pretty tight on him. You wouldn't want to let him set a light early, because we could be seeing something special.
Carly, you go straight to Danaher, the matchup that you were most looking forward to. Ko Hooker has also started forward. Hardigan goes to him. He's looking for a big Jakey boy, and he's in the right slap bang in the middle of the ground, thumbing the nose at those that think he can't play in the midfield.
Anthony Hudson on AFL Nation, Friday night footy, Essendon and Adelaide.
And you can hear the roar as the countdown is completed and the journey begins for the Crows and the Bombers in 2018. And Bellchambers over the top of Jacobs, got the tap off. Stringer charging through, Matty's presence felt. The ball comes out to Zaharakis, just got a left foot kick inside 50, but just. And on guard is Rory Laird, who just picks up where he left off last year, winning possessions for his team, takes the mark and goes super short as the Crows work the ball along that outer side, and a low kick is marked by Matt Crouch, turns instantly, still hasn't reached the wing. Now they have, but outreaching was Douglas. He got a favourable bounce and allowed him to pick it up and give it back to Laird. Half forward, low ball inside 50, and it's a nice kick, and he finds Hampton.
A little ding, 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 ding in the coaching box from Essendon. I reckon McDonald, Tip and Woody's been set for Laird, Spud. We've watched games where Laird has a dozen early. He's had 2 in the first minute.
Gives a little handoff to Douglas. Laconic looking kick to the goal square, but beautifully snaffled up by Stringer.
That's a great start. First clearance, bulldozed over a couple, now taking a hanger and defensive goal square.
Plays it off into the back pocket for Heppel. Heppel will clear the defensive area for Essendon with a run at it as Stewart. He leaps the pack, didn't bring it in. Sloane had a play, left it behind. Atkins shoots the hand pass out. Luday had his first touch. He got it off to Crouch, but his kick flopped in short and Heppel intercepts.
In the back pocket, looks up, all he can see is a mass of players in front of him, takes the conservative line low, tempered the kick so it was shaped a little for Danaher. Talia read him well and wore him well, got it over the line and out of bounds.
Adam Sard is on Eddie Betts, guys, so we're wondering whether they'd like the run, but he's going to lock into Eddie Betts, so pretty good move there from Worsfold early.
Boundary throw in, just outside the Crows 50 arc. It comes for Merritt to pick it up, and he had Goddard well placed for the reverse handball. Goddard kicks back to the wing. Danaher tried to claim it, but Talia steadfast in front. Takes the strong grab for the Crows. Eyes darting, doesn't see much. Gibbs sitting on the 50. Plants it just too strong for Jenkins. Deep kick, the fist there from Hartley effective. Zaharakis, they came for him. Fogarty, big, impressive tackle. Back up McKenna though. And now little chip kick is just fine for Merritt to Begley. And they're running by Zaharakis.
He kicks up to half forward. Out on the lead is Stewart. It's wide open up ahead. Hooker gets back deep, so too McDonald, Tip and Woody. He pulls the kick a bit short, Stewart. It still might work. Parrish on the bounce. Had trouble gathering. Has it now. Has an open passage and misses to the left as he tried to screw it around the body. The opening score is a behind. We are underway. That opening bounce is for Tyre Power, your top of the ladder tyre team.
Zach Merritt halfback, what a composed kick in traffic. The temptation to kick it long under pressure, but he was just composed enough to find the short, and that was the reason they got deep into attack.
Cale Hooker a little grumpy. He didn't get the handball off Parrish. The kick in is okay in the end. Got to Laird and then to Sloane. From halfback goes short. Hit out man was McGovern. A charging Douglas. They work off halfback. A chance now for Hampton as they build through the middle. Seedsman is running and he's legged.
Fair enough.
And he plays on and kicks a scrappy behind. Maybe he could have steadied and gone back and had the shot. Easy in hindsight.
Brendan Goddard is playing that loose half-back and not paying a hell of a lot of attention to his opponents, Bud, so he's got to pick his time, has to close up at the right time to make sure there's not that easy transition.
Behind each on the Toyota Good for Footy scoreboard.
Sard into Brown in the back pocket. He kicks long. Bellchambers brought it to ground. Sloane got there first. Neat little hand from Heppel to bat down the hand pass though. Zaharakis, he combines. Bellchambers and Heppel and Goddard. His kick around the wing at half volleyed Stringer, so he shoveled it off. Getting it forward hurriedly was Devon Smith, but that's where it comes unstuck. Laird and Hardigan and Jacobs combine, and Gibbs has a go as well, and Jacobs standing still, and turned that over. There was a lack of intensity in that moment of play.
Yeah, no real great decisiveness about, well, either side right now. It's turned straight back over, and Matt Crouch receives the ball and swings it through the middle to Atkins. Looks into the 50. He waited until the young man emerged. Fogarty out in front takes it, and he's directly in front, but 55 metres from home.
I've watched him, and nice to see. Bryce Gibbs just said, pointed the goal and said, kick the goal. I've been watching him, Hutto, Spud, Jared. This boy is commanding his area, and that is unusual for a debutant as a key forward, but he's commanding his space.
Originally from Lucendale in South Australia, Darcy Fogarty stands 55 metres out from goal, and he's undaunted. And they come for him as he drives through the first goal of the season and the first goal of what is already a promising career.
Well, Gaz, your first special comment, you've nailed it there, because it was interesting. I know Bryce Gibbs went to him, but I think he was doing it himself. I think you've called it beautifully. He just said, OK, yep, I'm right.
Well, let me explain what I mean by that. And sometimes you can be almost apologetic when you're making your debut as a footballer, and that is you're very conscious of who's around you. He's got experienced Jenkins and McGovern in front of him. He's got Eddie Betts around him. He's the key at the moment. He's the one that's taken up the number one spot, and when I say commanding it, he's got a presence about him. I like it.
Gary Lyon for Energy, 100% Australian. 117 the Crows, one behind Essendon. AFL Nation for first choice look at Licker out of the middle. Essendon win the ball. It's in possession of Langford. He was tackled all the way, and he's gone holding the ball. Atkins to come up with the free kick. Defensive side of the middle for the Crows. They're in white tonight with the red, yellow and blue hoops across the middle. He sends it deep into the forward line. Sloan and Betts probably flew against each other in the end. Betts throws it onto his boot, gets it in the Fogarty direction. Spoil made by Brown on the lunge. Tidied up by Smith. Hand pass. Brown's under desperate trouble. He got caught with the ball, but yes, he got the reprieve of some high contact from McGovern. Yeah, good intent from McGovern, and pretty hard to go low because he was going to his knees, the Essendon player.
Mitch Brown goes short. Devon Smith, it wasn't the required distance. He did well to get away from the nagging Betts and kicks back to the wing. Kelly got a fist in away from McDonald, Tippin, Woody. They converge on the footy. Goddard got their first handball. Langford, quick kick along the dock side wing. In front, Talia of Danaher, decided whether to keep it in or not. Decided to do so. Now he regrets it as he promptly kicks it out on the foot.
Yeah, he's won all three contests on Danaher so far, so pretty good start from Talia, even though Danaher got the hip and shoulder on him to equate to the out and full.
McDonald, Tippin, Woody trying to put a block on for Danaher, but the ball hadn't got into Green's hands yet, so he chips it to Goddard.
No corridor, Hutto. They're denying Essendon corridor at every opportunity.
Down the line to both Hooker and Danaher, and it falls for Joe at the back. He paddles for McDonald, Tippin, Woody, and then the same back to Danaher, weaves his way through impressively. McGrath waiting at the back, Langford for the kick to full forward. Parrish waits at Granlund. I never got there because Stewart took the mark.
Well, he was fourth in line. There was two pairs went up, and it was a clean grab from Stewart. Have a look at the Chemist Warehouse replay screen.
She's a fair shove.
It's in the back. You're right. Having another look.
No, it's Duday that took the front spot, and
that's in the back.
Yeah, for mine. But can take the opportunity now.
The thing that got him away, it wasn't hands in the back. It was actually his forearm that pushed.
Yeah, right in the middle of the back.
But it was in the back.
James Stewart continues to impress and progress as a player. Needs to nail this one. 20 metres out, he does. Kicks Essendon's first goal of the season. And they're goal for goal with Adelaide. 1-1-7 in the opening term. And that's on the Toyota Good for Footy scoreboard, supporting local legends.
Well, from a contested ball point of view, Johnny Warsall will be pretty happy. They've had 35 possessions, 13 contested, 7 to the Crows at the moment. Inside 50 count is 6 to Adelaide, 3 to the Bombers. So from a field position point of view, you probably touch Adelaide's way, but it's just a feeling out, Spud. It's been played between the arcs, both forward lines, as is the one of modern day. Desert the area and make it a 18 on 18 and a half a ground game.
AFL Nation for Macca's 24 McNuggets for $9.95. Scores a level 8.5 minutes into the opening term. Belchambers stands under the bounce, taps it to Goddard, who works it away to Parrish. His kick slews beyond halfway. Laird pushed out Smith and took the mark neatly for the Crows. Off to Seedsman. Quickly forward. Brown stands his ground against Jenkins, but he didn't pull it in. Hurley at the backs under pressure. Brown stays there to help him out. Hand pass against the boundary didn't result in much. Douglas disrupted the play, and it is over for a throw-in.
What I've seen early is both sides denying the switch and through the corridor, so it's just a lot of long punts to a contest, so a lot of pressure early.
40 out from the Adelaide goal. They kick to the Fletcher end, to the left as we look at it tonight. Jacobs to the front. Belchambers had a share of it as well. McGovern trying to pull it clear. Douglas slipped underneath, got it to his boot, tumbled it towards goal. It's through for a behind on the near side. The Crows lead by that score on the Toyota Good for Footy scoreboard.
Hurley, quick kick for Heppel, marks and left foot up to hard back. Asked a fair bit of Brown, he got to the right place, took the chest mark in front of Jenkins, who maybe accidentally contributed Okay, maybe they're not going to pay any fishies tonight at all. Brown switches, a fairly audacious kick, and McGovern almost got a fist to it, but Matty D was able to judge it at the right. Now, what have we got here?
Blood rule.
Blood rule.
So they're trying to be aggressive. D's coming off, a little nick over the left eye. Trying to be aggressive on this play by opening up Spud. We mentioned that very conscious Adelaide of not allowing them to get that ball through the middle of the ground and then generate the run that McKenna and Sard are known for. And the defence from Adelaide's good. They held them up, still in defensive 50 at the moment.
Get down to Abbey in a moment to get the latest on that little change. The quick kick now taken in the end. Hurley goes for Belchambers. He got up early and he was able to hold his ground in the air and mark in front of Jacobs. Just behind the wing, wants to get things going. Sends it towards half forward, Langford and Hooker. And Hooker flew, took the mark, didn't give the first, gave the second. Little tip kick from Parrish for McGrath. The youngster's on display, bounces it through. Summed it up nicely from 30, did McGrath. Only the slightest of angles. And he rolls it through for Essendon second. 2-1-13. Adelaide 1-2-8. And that is on the Toyota Good for Footy scoreboard.
Well, Essendon's height's coming to the fore. We saw Stewart take a grab a couple of minutes ago for their first goal. And that's all you want from your big man, Hooker. That long kick down the line. He marked it about 50 out, but he played on quickly. Saw Danaher. The kick wasn't great, but McGrath playing on the wing swooped on it. And gee, McGrath, he's going to be one hell of a player, isn't he? Jeez, it's a really good start in their tools for Essendon early.
Abby Holmes for Spitwater High Pressure Cleaners.
Yeah, Jared, Matt D, he actually started on the bench, literally was part of the first rotation on the ground, and then obviously copped that knock to the left eye. So just in the hands of the doctors now, and they'll patch him up and get him out there very quickly.
Essendon by 5. Belchambers won the tap. It was shovelled out by Crouch, though, near Douglas, who tried to pat it on. It ended up coming back to him. Merritt beat him to it, but gave it straight up. Crouch was able to shark it. He spreads it out. Kick comes inside the 50, and McGovern slides in, not paid the mark. Zaharakis wraps him up.
Well, that's the Australian cricketer's honesty test here, Jared. Let's have a look. Yeah, popped out. No question.
Had it and lost it. 50 from the Adelaide goal. Belchambers wins the tap. Ellis Yulman is onto it. He uses Gibbs, who gives a bit of ground. Crouch has a hand pass after Laird did. Then to Brown, high back inside the 50. Here comes the pack. Betts flies high at it. Sard, though, came down with it for the Dons. Hand pass to Goddard, but Adelaide are really well set. Laird wins it straight back. Off to Hardigan. Across the 50. Well-weighted ball. McGrath, terrific spoil at the last, but the race is on against Seedsman. Put it out in front of himself. McGrath beat him to it. He's brought down, but he got the hand pass away. Begley back to McGrath. McGrath, a sterling effort from the rising star, and he lays it off to Smith on the wing.
And don't they love him already, the Bomber fans? Driving kick from Devon Smith, the hooker. Both hands up in front. Hardigan got a fist in. Effective it was. Hits the ground. Laird, persistent, determined. Got a handball back to Hardigan. They keep on going. McKay. Left foot kick is a high one to half forward. Back with courage. Hurley did everything but take the mark, and he's going to get the aid of a free kick here.
Soft.
A little dubious, I would have thought.
No, it was soft, Huddo.
What about McGrath? The competitive spirit of the kid was fantastic, and that's why you win NAB Rising Star Awards.
A high switch, but effective one to Zaharakis, who ducks inside Eddie Betts, showed supreme confidence. Not sure he should have. Poor kick. Straight to Douglas, who kicks it to Betts, who marks 40 out from goal, and he chips it over the top. And the former giant in Curtly Hampton has taken the mark and just didn't decide to play on and run into goal. Instead, he's going to have the set shot instead.
Well, when goals are at a premium, to have a footy turned over like David Zaharakis did just then, with no pressure effectively, is, well, it's just unforgivable. And in the end, it'll cost you a spot in the team, Spud, because you just can't afford to do that.
Well, it deserves a goal, the turnover. It was just a bad option, a bad kick.
Curtly Hampton had a tough time at Adelaide, as he did at the end of his career with the Giants with injury, but he's getting a chance early and he seizes it here. He's put it through and Adelaide take the lead. It's 2-2, 14 the Crows, 2-1, 13 the Bombers. 14 minutes have elapsed in this opening term. And it's AFL Nation for Maccas, 24 McNuggets for $9.95.
Zaharakis coming to the bench, Spud. What's he from a kicking efficiency point of view?
33%. And if you're going to go in the middle, there's going to be a lot of space there. It was 2-on-1. It was just a bad option. Forget the kick.
Still Curtly Hampton, his AIS Academy squad group were as talented as any coming through, and he was seen to be at the very top of that group. And Hutto, I know you said from a GWS point of view, he just didn't get a real good run at it. He has got talent by the bucket loads. If he can put it together, he's in their best 22.
AFL Nation for first choice liquor. Adelaide by a point. Jenkins rucking. Won the tap and the possession. Hand passes it forward to the middle. Murphy overran it. Goes back and gets it. He's in the tackle by the time he did. Merritt keeps it in dispute. They scramble around for it. Ellis Yeoman has a hand pass. It was cut off by Langford, though, of the Dons, and they do work it out through McGrath and then to McKenna, who kicks around the wing. It's out in front of Green. He bounds onto it and sends it inside the 50. Stringer.
Well, Gerard, he went forward after he went into the midfield, and Jake Kelly at full back. And we know Kelly's a good player, but not many halfbacks like playing key defence.
Well, he got him for speed, Spud. Yeah, that's what he did. He put 3-4 metres on Kelly in the space of, a few strides.
Jake Stringer is outside the boundary and every bit of 50 metres from goal. He makes his approach, eyeing up the target. Jake Stringer. His first lash in the sash is near side. Ever so narrowly. Gave a cheap thrill to those in the seats at the Lloyd end. It ties things up at 14 apiece on the Toyota Good for Footy scoreboard.
Who's winning, boys? Scores a level. Who's winning, do you reckon?
It's even, I know.
Thank you very much.
That's a special comment.
Yep.
No, I don't think they both had their moments.
They have.
That's essentially it. The team that used the footy better by foot.
There's been some nervous moments for both. Ellis Yeoman, that one went a little wobbly through the air, but he gets Duday, who kicks it short enough, but effectively to Sloan, and then to Matt Crouch, one at his left side, hankering to handball. He's done that twice, and in the chain, they work it out to Atkins. He wants his left side as well, forced to give it up with a handball. Matt Crouch wobbles one down the line. Fogarty, and he's well placed to take the mark.
He's got a sure set of hands, Hutto.
Yeah, protected the drop of the ball, didn't he? He takes the mark. In front of Sard, goes very short. Back to Matt Crouch, still at half forward and still a kick and then some out from goal. As the defensive 50 fills up with Bombers. Some Adelaide representation deep. Jenkins flies, one arm up at the back. It's Essendon all over the place. Hurley better work it out with Stringer. Eventually he did. Stringer breaks clear, tails off towards the boundary line. The kick, and amazing courage shown by Duday. The mark not paid as he crashed into the...
Crouch went into the fence too, Hutto.
Yeah, Crouch went in as well to the artificial area. They collided with each other as the ball went over the boundary line and out of bounds. It remains locked at 2-2, 14 apiece. 17 minutes have elapsed in the opening term.
Left half forward for the Crows. At the throw-in, good little tap by Stewart. One at attacking side of the pack. Tackles Adelaide. Merritt got dispossessed. McKay came up with it and he worked it around. Talia received it from Kraut, kick inside the 50, knocked away from Betts. It falls with Jenkins. He's tackled by Parrish, got rid of it towards the boundary. How the umpires see it. Deliberate. Had to release it in the tackle. Didn't put it in the midst of a teammate.
Possession on the ground and field position so important. The Crows have turned the footy over 12 times in their forward half, Spud.
Langford kick was not much good. He did end up getting it back with an assist from Smith, and it's now with Stewart at right half back for Essendon.
His eyes are darting, didn't like anything internally, drives it. Adelaide well represented. Duday in front. Bellchambers more than a match in the air. Hardigan once it hit the ground to Duday, who started well. Off to McKay, from half back to half forward. McGovern with a full runner. Claimed the mark. Umpire disagreed. Sloan was first to recover. He's driven it blindly forward. And the mark is beautifully judged back there. And it's taken by Hartley of Essendon. He whips it across to Goddard's favour. He gets a handball, trying to benefit the running player in Hurley. Now McKenna can work in tandem with McGrath, the Max Bador. An error by hand, and it's well won by Greenwood. He gives it to McKay, who's bursting and still charging towards goal. And the kick didn't quite travel the same path. It wobbled to the left, maybe just off balanced as he released it. 2-3-15, placed 2-2-14, 19 minutes in the opening term for Toyota. Good for footy.
The Simmons stats here, Gaz. 13 inside 50s for Adelaide, only 5 to Essendon. The Bombers' defence is holding up big time.
Hurley marks the kick in. He goes long in the Danaher direction. Talia made the spoil right back to the 50 for the Crows. McGrath stands against the flow, though. Gave it to Smith, to Goddard, and back to McGrath, who's been in everything so far. That's his worst kick, though. And he's delivered it straight to Talia on the outer wing. He brings it inboard for Jacobs. Had to gather around the laces. Did a pretty good job. Off to Crouch. Ducked his way back through traffic and spreads it across the 50 where Gibbs takes the mark.
Kicks a goal from here. Matthew Crouch has started how he finished. 11 possessions already.
Bryce Gibbs gets full momentum. A little shepherd on the mark from McGovern. He unloads. It's near side and through for a behind. The Crows by 2. AFL Nation for first choice liquor.
15 inside 50s, Hutto. This is modern footy right here. They've got the ball trapped in their half. Repeat entries. Win the ball in. Win it back across the centre of the ground and keep banging it back in. It's standing up at the moment, Spud. I'm not convinced it'll stand up all night if they allow this to continue.
McDonald Tipperwoody launches to try and get them out, but he just couldn't take the mark from the Goddard kick. Now he's entrapped in a couple of Adelaide players' tackles. And it's going to be a ball up some 70 metres out from Adelaide's goal.
The stat you brought up before for Simmons was their ineffectiveness forward of the centre. That's the key. They're getting it in there, but they're not finding the target enough.
Bellchambers tapping down with purpose to Zaharakis. It's a rush kick, gains territory. Heppel in front, does well. Takes the mark above his head in front of Laird. And again, he's looking, but just nothing to go to.
Because they don't hold their structure, Spud. The forwards leave their area. That's why they can't go quick.
Places it at half forward, but Stewart had no chance. Bude over the top, got it out of bounds.
So now Joe Danaher looks remotely like a full forward because he's within 25 metres of the ground. But when the ball is in deep in Adelaide's forward line, they have no forward structure. They all move up the ground and become half-court players.
In Cape Town, South Africa 8 for 301, Elgar 136, Rabada 21. Around the grounds for Kubota's autumn catalogue. Half forward for Essendon at the throw-in. Heppel sharked the tap. Got his way onto the left boot, kicks inside the 50. Awful bounce for Hooker. Trying to get hold of it is Green. He's got 3 or 4 coming at him. He tumbled a kick forward, but only as far as Laird. Laird's hand pass gave Duday a fearsome task to stand up to. They need help. Brown and Laird offloaded. Stewart has a go. The next smother is laid on Smith. Crouch with a clearing kick. It's high risk, though, as it floated across the 50. And Bellchambers rises to take the mark.
Great effort, Green. Great effort, Tipperwoody. Great effort. Devon Smith was involved. Davey Darcy Parish. That's the pressure they need. Keep it in there. Tackle, harass, get a repeat. Turn over at 50. Now it's up to big hooker, big Bellchambers.
This will hurt if he kicks this goal because Adelaide had the previous 8 inside 50s.
Right of centre, 50 metres from goal. Tom Bellchambers sets the drop punt on its way. It's beautiful. Held its line the whole way. They're applauding from the moment it left the boot. Essendon grabs the lead back. 3-2-20 to Adelaide, 2-4-16, 22 gone on the Toyota Good for Footy scoreboard.
We've got to make the most of the opportunities, and this could come back to haunt Adelaide. 15 inside 50s for 2 goals. That's not a great return. We saw last night when Carlton had the first 6 inside 50s had 5 goals, but Essendon just, as you said, it was built on forward pressure. We talked pre-game, they're going to have to put some forward pressure on it. It was Green and Tipperwoody. It was the second and third efforts for those 2 guys in particular. They held the ball in and Bellchambers marked the ball and kicked truly.
15 inside 50s to the Crows. I want to look at the way they structure up inside forward 50. Whether they're making the most of the 15 entries. And right now they're outnumbered. Any quick ball out of the middle here goes to a heavily outnumbered situation.
Back in the middle, Jacobs over the top, but Bellchambers got it down to Heppel, paddled it for the good of Langford. His handball just behind Smith, made it awkward for him, but he's kicked him inside 50. Well read, though, by Laird. as sprightly as ever, takes the mark and turns and brings Gibbs into the game with a short one, and then a driving exit kick from Gibbs. Atkins and Douglas, the joint targets. Douglas arrived at just the right moment. Marks in front of McKenna as they work the dock side, and now up to the wing goes the kick where Kelly has it for Adelaide.
Guys, it could be that synergy too for Adelaide's forward half. No Cameron, no Lynch and no Taylor Walker. So 3 guys that played every game last year aren't in the forward line tonight.
Linchpins that really weren't they for so many games of the season. This is read pretty well by the big man McGovern. Gets it off to Atkins, long shot at goal, and it very nearly squeezed through, but alas, it was the wrong side of the post in the end. Adelaide moved to 2-5-17. Essendon 3-2-20. This is AFL Nation for First Choice Liquor.
Long on the kick in, and Hurley's taking the mark clear of the defensive 50. He'll sweep the hand pass to Zaharakis, and he can get motoring around the outer wing. He delivers it up to Hooker on the long lead. He sees the hand pass on over the top to Parrish, delivers it there, who kicks wide to Stewart, right against the boundary. Photo, umpire says he bubbled it, and it'll be thrown in 40 metres out from the Essendon goal.
What did you think of the choice of going for the long one deep into the pocket rather than the over the top?
Yeah, I don't mind it.
That's your mark, Jared.
They've changed
That's
their
your mark.
mind.
You saw in the Chemist Warehouse replay screen, it didn't bobble at all. He ran 150 metres to that mark.
James Stewart from the boundary opens the goal front and slots it. That's a superb kick. Got the benefit of the doubt on the mark and took full toll from it. 4-2-26 Essendon to Adelaide 2-5-17. 25 gone on the Toyota Good for Footy scoreboard.
Coates high goal that they contended there, no question about it. The really pleasing thing, 3 of the 4 goals have come from their big tall forwards. Stewart with 2 and Bell Chambers as a ruck come forward, so that's a good result. Rory Sloane made a rare bad mistake on the half-back flank. He got in that situation where he was caught in between the guy with the ball. It was going to be handballed over his head. He elected to go and make the handball. The problem was it was big Sam Jacobs that was the next runner. He should have gone with the runner, allowed Sam Jacobs to cover the mark.
Gee, comparison being made between the mark not paid down here to Duday and the one that was just paid there to the big man who kicks the goal for the Bombers. Now we're going forward quickly out of the middle. A young man in his first game, Murphy, gets a second chance at Adelaide. It bobbles away, though. Taken away from Ellis Yeoman by Merritt. And now Zaharakis on his way, though. He backtracks for a moment to the call of Goddard by hand. He stretches it out also by hand to Merritt. Left foot kick to half-forward pitches in front of Laird. A rare fumble, and Essendon pounce. Heppel back to Green. Long kick over down to Hur's head. No free kick. The mark paid to Talia. And he's got good support at ground level as Luke Brown, reliable as ever, works it back to Atkins, chips it for McGovern. He's going to have to use his body here, and he does effectively against Hurley. They're on the build, the Crows. They need to be, and he spotted a man at centre half forward, and it's Douglas. Takes it, he'll need, and he played on. Regression instantly, and he's caught holding the ball by Zach Merritt.
Well, no intent from Douglas. Wheel and go with a bit of intent. He just sort of waltzed back. He deserved to get tackled there.
Yeah, you know what, though? I look ahead to see what he can go to. Like, if you've got someone coming out of the goal square, you wheel and go. He had nothing there.
Essendon by 9. The kick into the middle's a little aimless. Danaher disrupted the pack but couldn't win the footy. Jacobs knocked it backwards. It is tidied up. McKay got it to Talia, who dribbles it out in the Atkins direction, but the ball's running all the way to the boundary and over to be thrown in on AFL Nation for First Choice Liquor.
Devon Smith's been outstanding. He's had 9 possessions, but his pressure around the ball, around the contest, has been really important.
Right half forward for Essendon. Jacobs and Bell Chambers form up. Jacobs knocks it down. Heppel tried to get it through. Jacobs was having none of it. Gibbs, creative hand pass. Got it away to Douglas. Kick beyond halfway, but it's well scouted by Hartley, who takes the intercepting mark.
A mark of confidence as he switches it across centre half back to Mitch Brown. A couple of long-haired Bomber defenders combining. Big, deep kick for Hurley. He's pushed up on McGovern. Oh, he judged it beautifully and then spilt it off his chest. It rebounds though, and he hand passes to McDonald. Tip and Woody. The chipping one on the bounce. Not perfect at all for Hooker. Oh, Merritt's been cleaned up. Body work by Douglas. Advantage paid. Hooker senses the opportunity for a long bomb. But Hardigan read the play nicely and takes the mark.
Moved. Zach Merritt just getting up now, Zach Merritt.
Short kick. And Seedsman receives from Laird. He plays the running game along the outer wing. Up to meet at Eddie Betts. He swivels and handballs, and they're on the move again.
Seedsman pumps the Crows inside 50. Jenkins at the back. He's taken the mark. He had better position on Brown. Some great carry on the footy. And it'll be a 50-metre penalty as well.
Sorry, Jared. Yeah, certain goal comes the goal square, no doubt about that. This is what I mean, Spud. Hurley is an outstanding defender. Hartley and Brown are still relatively raw. I want the Adelaide Crow forwards, the bigger forwards, to keep those defenders in dangerous positions, not vacate.
I want to have a look at this on the Chemist Warehouse replay screen, that hit on Merritt too, because I saw the umpire go to the Adelaide player. Now, the ball's still in play, so I reckon he said to me, maybe your report.
I thought that too.
Josh Jenkins from point-blank range brings the Crows back within 3. Toyota good for footy scoreboard at the 29-minute mark of the opening term. Essendon 4-2-26, Adelaide 3-5-23. Down to the boundary, Abby Holmes for Spitwater high pressure cleaners.
Yeah, a big hit there from Douglas on Zach Merritt. The doctors very quickly went out to him on the ground. He was trying to wave them away, but they ushered him to the boundary. He's now going down the race, and I'm sure they'll just run through some concussion testing there.
Was there direct contact to the head, Spud?
There was direct contact shoulder on shoulder. I think it was the whiplash effect of the hit that has upset the brain, Hutto.
The 50-metre was for the exclusion zone too, so we've got our first exclusion zoner.
AFL Nation for Macca's 24 McNuggets for $9.95.
I think he'll get off that, Hutto.
The Dons by 3. Bell Chambers down to Stringer, who missed the hand pass to Heppel. Ellis Yulman intervened. He gave it to Betts, who worked it around to Atkins. And that's all there is for the opening term. Essendon by 3 points, 4-2-26 to Adelaide 3-5-23. The goal kickers, Stewart has 2. McGrath and Bell Chambers 1 each. While for the Crows, Jenkins, Hampton and Fogarty a goal apiece. The opening term for AFL Nation for Macca's 24 McNuggets for $9.95 at quarter time. On AFL Nation, it's Essendon by 3.
This quarter brought to you by dealer principal Gary Shanahan and the team at Terrelgan Toyota. Toyota, good for footy.